The encounter that wasn't an accident. The night I ran into my brother-in-law at a roadside diner 3 states away from home was the night everything I believed about my family cracked open. I remember it clearly because I almost didn't go inside. The rain was coming down hard, the kind that blurs the highway lights into long streaks of white and gold. My hands were stiff from gripping the steering wheel for too long, my back aching from a drive I hadn't planned to make. I had left home after another argument with my husband, David. Another quiet one, the kind that leaves no bruises but drains the air from your lungs all the same. "You're imagining things," he'd said, not even looking up from his phone. "You always do this." So I drove. No destination. Just distance. When I saw the diner's neon sign flickering in the rain, open 24 hours, I took the exit without thinking. I needed coffee. Warmth. Somewhere to sit where no one expected anything from me. I pushed open the door, and the bell above it chimed softly. That's when I saw him. He was sitting in the far corner booth, back half-turned, shoulders hunched like he didn't want to be recognized. For a split second, my brain refused to connect the face to the name. But then he looked up, and our eyes met. My stomach dropped so fast I thought I might faint. "Mark," I whispered. My brother-in-law froze. The fork halfway to his mouth stopped mid-air. His face drained of color, and for a heartbeat, he looked like a child caught doing something unforgivable. "Emily," he said slowly. Too slowly. "What are you doing here?" The question echoed between us, heavy and sharp. Mark lived 8 hours away from this place. He worked a stable job. Had a wife. 2 kids. He was the dependable one in David's family, the good son, the one their parents praised endlessly. And yet here he was, alone at midnight, in a diner miles from anywhere he should have been. "I could ask you the same thing," I said. "Before we begin, if you enjoy stories that touch the heart and remind us of life's quiet miracles, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It truly helps our little storytelling family grow." Forcing my voice steady as I slid into the booth across from him. "Isn't your son's birthday today?" His jaw tightened. "That's tomorrow," he said. I knew it wasn't. I'd helped plan the party. I'd wrapped the gifts. I'd listened to his wife, Karen, talk excitedly on the phone just that morning. Something was wrong. The waitress came over, breaking the silence, and poured me a cup of coffee. I thanked her, but my eyes never left Mark's face. He looked older than I remembered. Tired. Haunted. "You look like you've seen a ghost," I said. He gave a humorless laugh. "Funny. I was about to say the same about you." We sat there, rain pounding against the windows, the smell of grease and coffee hanging in the air. Around us, strangers ate quietly, unaware that the ground beneath my family was starting to split. "So," I said finally, "why are you here?" Mark stared down at his plate. His fingers trembled slightly as he set his fork down. "I could ask you not to ask that," he said, "but I don't think you would listen." "You're right," I replied. "I wouldn't." He sighed, rubbing his face like a man who hadn't slept in days. "Emily," he said softly, "if I tell you the truth, it's going to change things." My heart began to race. Change what things? He looked up at me then, really looked at me, his eyes filled with something I had never seen before. "Fear." "Everything," he said. The word landed between us like a dropped glass. I should have walked away. I should have finished my coffee and left. But something deep inside me, a quiet, persistent voice I had ignored for years, told me this moment mattered. "Try me," I said. Mark swallowed hard. "You know how families are built on stories," he began. "Little lies, big silences, things everyone agrees not to talk about." I nodded slowly. David's family was famous for that. Smiles at holidays, polite conversations, pain tucked neatly under the tablecloth. "There's one story," Mark continued, "that's been wrong since the beginning." I leaned forward. "What story?" He hesitated again, glancing around the diner like the walls themselves might be listening. You, he said. The word hit me harder than I expected. Me. Yes, he said. Your marriage. Your place in this family. The reason David is the way he is. My pulse thundered in my ears. What are you talking about, Mark? He opened his mouth, then closed it again. His hands clenched into fists. I shouldn't, he whispered. I promised. Promised who? Our mother, he said. The room felt suddenly too small. She made me swear. He went on, his voice shaking. Swear I would never tell you. Or David. Or anyone. Tell me what? I asked, barely breathing. Mark's eyes filled with tears. That the night you met David wasn't an accident. I laughed, sharp and disbelieving. What does that even mean? You didn't just bump into him at that charity event, Mark said. You were introduced. Carefully. On purpose. My smile faded. That's ridiculous, I said. I met him by chance. He spilled wine on my dress. Mark nodded slowly. Yes, he said. That part was real. The spill. The embarrassment. But you being there wasn't. I shook my head. You're not making sense. Emily, he said urgently, leaning forward. Our mother chose you. The words echoed in my chest. Chose me for what? Mark looked at me like he was seeing me for the first time. To save David. The rain outside intensified. Thunder rumbling in the distance. Save him from what? I whispered. Mark hesitated, then spoke the words that cracked something open inside me. From the truth about who he really is. I stared at him, my mind spinning. This is insane, I said. You're tired. You're stressed. You probably haven't slept. I've been carrying this for 12 years, Mark replied. I sleep just fine. That's the problem. The diner felt colder now. What truth? I asked. Mark took a deep breath. You don't know why David's first engagement ended, do you? I shook my head slowly. She didn't leave him, Mark said. She ran. My throat tightened. Why? Mark's voice dropped to a whisper. Because she discovered something about his past. Something about his birth. My heart began to pound painfully. Mark, I said. You're scaring me. I know, he said. I'm scared too. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a folded envelope, worn and yellowed with age. I've carried this for years, he said. I never thought I'd give it to you. He slid it across the table. What is it? I asked. A copy, he said. Not the original. But enough. Enough for what? To understand why your marriage was never really yours to begin with. My hand shook as I picked up the envelope. Inside was a photocopy of a birth certificate. I scanned it quickly, then more carefully. And then my breath caught. The mother's name was familiar. Too familiar. It was my mother's name. I looked up slowly. That's not possible, I whispered. Mark's face crumpled. I'm so sorry, he said. We didn't know how to tell you. I felt dizzy. This says... I couldn't finish the sentence. It says David isn't who you think he is, Mark said quietly. And neither are you. The world tilted. You need to stop, I said, pushing the paper back toward him. This is sick. I wish it were, he said. I stood abruptly, my legs unsteady. I need air, I muttered. As I walked toward the door, my mind raced, pieces of memory flashing. My mother's strange silences, her discomfort around David, the way she avoided family gatherings. Outside, the rain soaked through my coat, but I barely felt it. Behind me, the diner door opened. Emily, Mark called softly. There's more. I turned slowly. How much more? I asked. Mark's voice broke. Enough to turn your family upside down. The truth buried in silence. I stood in the rain longer than I should have. Cars hissed past on the highway, their headlights slicing through the darkness, but all I could hear was the blood rushing in my ears. The paper Mark had shown me burned in my mind like an afterimage, My mother's name printed in black ink, neat and official, impossible to ignore. My mother. Not David's. Mine. I pressed my palms against my eyes, trying to wake myself from whatever nightmare this had become. Families didn't hide things like this. Not normal ones. Not mine. But then again, what did I really know? Emily, Mark said again, quieter now. You're soaked. I turned back toward him. He stood beneath the diner's awning, his shoulders slumped, rain speckling his hair. He looked less like the confident older brother I'd known for years, and more like a man who had finally run out of places to hide. Say it again, I demanded. Slowly. Clearly. He hesitated. Not out here, he said. Please. Every instinct screamed at me to leave, to get in my car and drive until the sun came up, until this night blurred into something I could pretend never happened. But another instinct, stronger, older, kept me rooted in place. I followed him back inside. The diner felt almost surreal now, like a stage set where the lights had shifted. The waitress glanced at us, sensing the tension, but said nothing as we returned to the booth. Mark waited until we sat. Start from the beginning, I said. And don't skip anything. He nodded slowly. Do you remember how close your mother and our mother were? He asked. Yes, I said. They met before David and I did. Book club. Coffee dates. Long phone calls. They didn't meet by chance, Mark said. My chest tightened. What do you mean? Our mother sought yours out, he said. Years before you met David. She knew exactly who she was. I shook my head. That doesn't make sense. Why? Mark's jaw clenched. Because your mother already knew her secret. A cold chill slid down my spine. What secret? Mark looked at me carefully, as if gauging how much I could handle. Emily, he said gently, your mother didn't give birth to one child. The word struck like a blow. I don't understand. You were adopted, he said. My breath left me in a rush. That's not true, I said immediately. My parents, my father. Your father knew, Mark said. He agreed to raise you as his own. But biologically. No, I snapped. Stop. Mark flinched. I'm not trying to hurt you, he said. I'm trying to explain. Explain why you're telling me my life is a lie. I shot back. He fell silent, letting the weight of the moment settle. I stared down at the table, my hands clenched in my lap. Memories surfaced uninvited. My mother's overprotectiveness, her fear when I talked about medical histories, the way relatives always said I didn't look like anyone. I'd laughed it off. Now it laughed at me. Okay, I said finally, my voice hollow. Say I believe that. What does that have to do with David? Mark swallowed. Because David is your biological brother. The diner seemed to tilt violently. I gripped the edge of the table to keep myself upright. No, I whispered. That's impossible. I wish it were, he said. My mouth opened but no sound came out. You were born first, Mark continued, voice trembling. Your mother was young, scared, alone. She gave you up quietly, through someone our mother knew. My heart pounded painfully. And David. 2 years later, Mark said. She had another child. She couldn't give him up again. She didn't tell anyone who the father was. She disappeared. I stared at him in disbelief. You're saying my mother gave birth to David? Yes. And then what? I demanded. She just walked away? Our mother adopted him, Mark said. Legally. Privately. She raised him as her own. I felt sick. That's insane, I said. That's why she was so controlling, Mark interrupted. So afraid of losing him. So determined to control every detail of his life. The pieces began clicking together in horrible clarity. David's mother's obsession. Her interference. Her insistence that she knew what was best for him. And when David got older, Mark went on, she became terrified the truth would come out. That he'd find out who he really was. So she what? I asked. She chose you. My stomach dropped. She found out where you were, Mark said. That you were smart, kind, stable. That you had no idea who you really were. And she thought marrying me to him would, what? My voice cracked. Keep the secret safe? Yes, Mark said quietly. If he married you, no one would ever question why you were in the family. Why she was so invested in your life. I pressed a hand to my mouth. That's sick, I whispered. I know. And you? I asked sharply. You knew all of this? Mark nodded slowly. I found out years ago. By accident. Old documents. Letters. And you said nothing? I cried. I was scared, he admitted. Our mother made me swear. She said it would destroy everyone. I laughed bitterly. Looks like she was right. A heavy silence fell between us. Does David know? I asked. Mark shook his head. No. He thinks he was adopted at birth by relatives. He doesn't know who his biological mother was. And my mother? I whispered. Does she know who he is? Yes, Mark said. She's known the whole time. The betrayal hit me harder than anything else. My entire life, I said slowly, my mother let me marry my own brother. Mark's eyes filled with tears. She believed you would never find out, he said. And if you did, she hoped it would be too late. I pushed back from the table and stood. I can't be here, I said. I can't listen to this anymore. Emily, wait, Mark pleaded. There's something else. I turned on him. What could possibly make this worse? He hesitated. The reason I'm here, he said. My hands trembled. You're not running away from your family, are you? No, he said. I'm running toward the truth. He reached into his jacket again and pulled out his phone. I got a call tonight, he said. From your mother. My heart slammed against my ribs. She's in the hospital, he continued. She collapsed. I froze. When? Earlier today, he said. She asked for you. The room spun. She knows, I whispered. She thinks you already do, Mark said. She wants to explain before it's too late. I sank back into the booth. I don't know if I can face her, I said. You have to, Mark said softly. Because there's one more thing she's hiding. I looked up slowly. What? Mark's voice was barely audible. The man you think is your father isn't. I closed my eyes as tears finally spilled over. Who is he? I asked. Mark shook his head. I don't know, he said. And neither does David. The silence stretched between us, thick and unbearable. Finally I stood. Take me to her, I said. Mark looked relieved and terrified. You're sure? No, I said honestly. But I can't keep living in a lie. As we walked toward the door, I realized something with a clarity that stole my breath. I wasn't just about to confront my mother. I was about to unravel every identity I had ever known. And once the truth came out, there would be no family left untouched. The confession that shattered us. Hospitals have a way of stripping away illusions. The bright lights, the antiseptic smell, the quiet urgency in every hallway. It all felt designed to leave no room for denial. As Mark and I walked through the automatic doors, I felt like a stranger in my own body, my legs moving while my mind lagged behind, still trying to grasp a truth too enormous to hold. My mother was in room 417. I memorized the number like a final destination. Mark stopped outside the door. I can't go in with you, he said quietly. She asked to see you alone. I nodded, my throat too tight for words. My hand hovered over the door handle longer than necessary. Behind that door was the woman who had kissed scraped knees, braided my hair before school, and whispered prayers over me when I was sick. The woman who had lied to me every day of my life. I pushed the door open. She looked smaller than I remembered. My mother lay propped up against white pillows, her hair thinner, her skin pale against the hospital sheets. Tubes and wires snaked around her like restraints. When she saw me, her eyes filled instantly with tears. "Emily," she whispered. I closed the door behind me. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The beeping of the heart monitor filled the silence, steady and unforgiving. "You know," she said finally. It wasn't a question. "Yes," I replied. "Enough." She nodded slowly, as if she had been expecting this moment for years. "Come sit," she said, patting the edge of the bed. I stayed where I was. "Tell me the truth," I said. "All of it. No more stories." She swallowed hard. "I always knew this day might come," she said. "I just hoped I wouldn't be alive when it did." The words cut deep. "Start talking," I said. Tears streamed down her face as she stared at the ceiling. "I was 16 when I got pregnant the first time," she began. "My parents were strict, unforgiving. When they found out, they told me the baby had to go." My chest tightened. "They sent me away," she continued, "to stay with distant relatives. I gave birth alone. I never even held you." My hands shook. "They told me it was better this way," she said. "That you'd have a good life. A normal life. So you gave me up," I said flatly. "Yes." I felt something inside me fracture. "And then David," I said. Her breath hitched. 2 years later," she whispered. "I made the same mistake. Same man." I stiffened. "You knew him?" I asked. "Yes," she said. "But he didn't know about either of you." "Who was he?" I demanded. She closed her eyes. "I can't tell you," she said. Anger flared. "You don't get to choose silence anymore." I snapped. "Not after what you've done." Her eyes flew open. "He was dangerous," she said urgently. "If he knew, if he ever found you, it would destroy everything." My heart pounded. "You let me marry my own brother," I said, my voice breaking. "And you're worried about destruction?" She sobbed openly now. "I thought if you stayed close," she said. "If you were bound together by love, you would protect each other." "That's not love," I said. "That's cruelty." "I know," she whispered. "I know." The room felt suffocating. "What about my father?" I asked. "The man who raised me." "He loved you," she said quickly. "He chose you. He knew you weren't his, but he loved you anyway." I let out a shaky breath. "And David's adoptive parents?" "They never told him," she said. "They believed secrecy was kindness." I laughed bitterly. "Kindness," I repeated. "Is that what you call this?" She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. "Why now?" I asked. "Why call Mark? Why ask for me?" "Because David knows something is wrong," she said. My heart skipped. "What do you mean?" "He's been asking questions," she said. "About his adoption. About me. About you." Cold dread settled over me. "And what did you tell him?" "Nothing," she said. "I told him to stop digging." I closed my eyes. "He deserves to know," I said. "I know," she whispered. "But I can't tell him." "Why not?" She hesitated. "Because if I do," she said, "he'll hate me. And if he hates me, he'll want to know who his father is. And that's bad because—" I pressed. She trembled. "Because his father doesn't forgive," she said. "And he doesn't forget." A chill ran through me. "You're saying this man is a threat," I said. "Yes," she replied. "To you. To David. To everyone." The room fell silent. "What do you want from me?" I asked finally. She looked at me with desperation in her eyes. "Leave David," she said. Quietly. "Go somewhere far away. Let him think it's his fault." I stared at her in disbelief. "You want me to carry this alone?" I asked. Again. "It's the only way to keep him safe," she insisted. "And what about me?" I demanded. Her voice broke. "I failed you," she said. "I know that now." I sank into the chair beside the bed, exhaustion crashing over me. "I can't do that," I said softly. "I won't." Tears slid silently down her cheeks. Then everything falls apart, she whispered. I stood slowly. Maybe it should, I said. She looked up at me, fear written across her face. You don't understand what you'll unleash, she said. I understand enough, I replied. Secrets rot families from the inside. I won't let this one finish the job. She reached for me again. Promise me one thing, she said. I hesitated. Don't tell David yet, she begged. Not until I'm gone. I pulled my hand away. I won't promise that, I said. He's my husband, my brother, and he deserves the truth. Her face crumpled. As I turned toward the door, her voice stopped me. Emily, she whispered. I did love you. I paused, my back to her. I know, I said. That's what makes this hurt. Outside, Mark waited. It's worse than I thought, I said quietly. He nodded. David's on his way here, he said. My heart leapt into my throat. When? Tomorrow morning. The floor seemed to drop beneath me. He can't find out like this, I said. He's going to, Mark replied gently. One way or another. I looked down the hallway toward the exit. Then I need to tell him myself, I said. Mark searched my face. Are you ready for that? I thought of the life we'd built. The love. The lies. No, I said. But ready or not, the truth is coming. When the truth finally spoke. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the hospital's empty chapel, staring at a stained glass window that caught the faint glow of the parking lot lights. The colors blurred together as tears came and went, my mind looping through memories that now felt poisoned. David laughing in our kitchen. David holding my hand at my father's funeral. David whispering, we're family now. Family. The word had never felt heavier. At dawn, my phone vibrated. David. I'm almost there. Is your mom okay? My fingers hovered over the screen. I typed erased, typed again. Me, she's stable. We need to talk. In person. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. David. You're scaring me. I closed my eyes. I'm scared too, I wanted to say. Instead, I stood up. The hospital cafeteria was just opening when David arrived. I saw him through the glass doors before he saw me. His familiar walk, the slight limp from an old sports injury, his hair still messy from the drive. For one brief, devastating second, I wanted to run into his arms and pretend none of this existed. Then he looked up. Relief flooded his face when he saw me. He crossed the room in long strides and pulled me into a hug. You should have called, he said into my hair. I would have come sooner. My body stiffened in his arms. I know, I whispered. He pulled back, concern replacing relief. What's wrong? I looked at Mark, who stood several feet away, hands in his pockets, face grim. Why is he here? David asked. Because he knows, I said quietly. David frowned. Knows what? I gestured toward an empty table. Sit, I said. Please. Something in my voice must have reached him. He sat slowly, eyes moving between me and Mark. Emily, he said. You're shaking. I took a deep breath. There's something about your adoption, I began. His shoulders tensed immediately. I told you, he said. I don't want to dig into that. I know, I replied. But you have to hear this. Mark sat down across from him. David's jaw tightened. You too. Mark nodded. I should have told you a long time ago. David laughed nervously. Okay, he said. This feels like an intervention. I reached for David's hand, then stopped myself halfway. I need you to listen, I said. No matter how hard it gets. He studied my face, then nodded. Okay. I swallowed. You weren't adopted by relatives, I said. He frowned. Yes, I was. You were adopted, I said carefully. But not by relatives. Mark spoke softly. Mom lied, David. David's eyes snapped to him. What are you talking about? You were adopted by strangers, Mark continued. People who agreed to raise you as their own. David shook his head. No, that's not. And your biological mother, I said, my voice barely holding, wasn't some distant cousin. He turned back to me. Then who was she? He asked. My throat closed. She was my mother, I said. The silence that followed was absolute. David stared at me unblinking. That's not funny, he said. I'm not joking, I whispered. He laughed again, louder this time. Okay, that's enough. What kind of sick game is this? Mark leaned forward. She gave birth to you 2 years after Emily, he said. Same father. David stood abruptly, chair scraping against the floor. Stop, he snapped. Just stop. Tears blurred my vision. You're my brother, I said. The words shattered something. David staggered back as if struck. No, he said. No. No, no, no. He looked around wildly, like the room itself might contradict me. This isn't real, he said. You're confused. She's sick. That's all. I wish that were true, I said. He turned on Mark. You're lying, he said. You always hated Mom. You want to tear this family apart. Mark flinched. I'm telling you because I love you, he said. David's breathing became ragged. And my marriage? He demanded, looking back at me. What about us? I closed my eyes. It should never have happened, I said. That broke him. He collapsed back into the chair, hands gripping his hair. Oh God, he whispered. Oh God. I'm so sorry, I said, tears spilling freely now. He looked up at me, eyes red and searching. Did you know? He asked. No, I said quickly. I found out last night. He studied my face, then nodded faintly. Why would they do this? He asked. Why would they let this happen? Because they thought secrecy was protection, Mark said. They were wrong. David let out a hollow laugh. So what am I now? He asked. What are we? I couldn't answer. He stood suddenly and backed away from us. I can't be here, he said. I can't even look at you. The words cut deep, but I understood. David, I began. He shook his head violently. No, he said. If I stay, I'll break. He turned and walked away, his footsteps echoing through the cafeteria. I sank into my chair sobbing. Mark sat beside me. He'll come back, he said softly. He just needs time. I wiped my eyes. What if he doesn't? I asked. Mark didn't answer. That afternoon, my mother's condition worsened. By evening, she was gone. The doctor spoke gently, but I barely heard him. I stood at the foot of her bed, staring at her still face, unsure whether to feel grief, anger, or relief. David never came back. The funeral was small, quiet. David didn't attend. Neither did his adoptive parents. Afterward, I returned to the house we shared and packed a single suitcase. I left him a letter on the kitchen table. I never chose this. I loved you in the only way I knew how. I will always wish this had ended differently. Weeks passed. Then months. The divorce papers arrived without a word. I signed them. The house sold. Our life dissolved into boxes and signatures. One evening, nearly a year later, I received a message. David, I've been in therapy. I know now this wasn't your fault. My heart pounded. David, I don't know what we are, but I don't hate you. Tears streamed down my face. Me, I don't hate you either. We never met again. Some bonds can't survive the truth, but sometimes telling it is the only way to survive yourself. After the truth, a different kind of family. The first year after everything ended felt like walking through a burned forest. Nothing looked the same, but the air was strangely clear. I moved to a small coastal town where no one knew my name or my past. I rented a modest apartment with a view of the water and took a job at a community library. The work was quiet, predictable, safe. For the first time in my life, no one expected me to play a role. In the evenings, I walked the beach alone. I let the wind pull at my hair and the salt sting my eyes. Some nights I cried until my chest ached. Other nights I felt nothing at all. Grief doesn't arrive in neat stages. It comes in waves. Sometimes I missed David so deeply it felt like a physical wound. Not the husband I lost, but the brother I never got to know, the shared childhood we were robbed of. Other times anger flared. At my mother. At his adoptive parents. At every adult who chose silence over honesty and called it love. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, something else began to grow. Clarity. In therapy, I learned to separate truth from blame. "You didn't break the family," my therapist said gently one afternoon. "You revealed the fracture that already existed." That sentence stayed with me. I stopped asking why me and started asking what now. One rainy afternoon, nearly 18 months after the hospital, a letter arrived. Handwritten. Carefully folded. It was from Mark. "Emily, David and I have been talking more. Slowly. Carefully. He's rebuilding something I don't fully understand yet. I think it helps knowing you're out there healing too. There's something else. I found information about your biological father. I didn't tell you before because I didn't know how. But I think you should have the choice now." My hands trembled as I read the address enclosed. I didn't go right away. Some truths wait until you're strong enough to meet them. 3 months later, I stood outside a modest home in a quiet town far from where I'd grown up. The man who answered the door was older than I expected. Gray-haired. Stooped. Ordinary. When I told him my name, his face went pale. "I wondered if this day would come," he said. We sat at his kitchen table for hours. He told me he had been young. Reckless. That he hadn't known about me or David until decades later. That by the time he tried to find my mother, she was gone. "I would have stepped up," he said, tears in his eyes. I swear. I believed him. But belief didn't erase the past. Before I left, he handed me a small envelope. "Your grandmother," he said. "She wrote these. She never knew how to send them." Inside were letters. Pages filled with love, regret, and a longing that spanned decades. I cried all the way back to my hotel. Not because I gained something new, but because I finally understood where I came from. I never told David about our father. That was his choice to make if he ever wanted it. Instead, I focused on the family I could choose. At the library, I grew close to an elderly woman named Ruth who brought me homemade bread every Sunday. I made friends with a single mother and her daughter who treated me like an aunt. I learned that family could be built from presence, not blood. On the 2nd anniversary of my mother's death, I wrote her a letter I never sent. "You loved me the only way you knew how. But love without truth is a cage. I forgive you not because you were right, but because I refused to carry your fear." That night, I slept without nightmares for the first time in years. A year later, I received another message. "David, I'm moving. New city. New start. David, I wanted you to hear it from me." I stared at the screen for a long time. "Me, I'm glad you're choosing yourself. David, I hope you're happy." I typed back the truth. "Me, I'm learning how." We never spoke again. But we didn't need to. Some connections aren't meant to be repaired. Only honored for what they were. On my 40th birthday, I walked the shoreline at sunrise. The sky burned pink and gold as the waves rolled in, steady and sure. I thought about the girl who had walked into a diner one rainy night, desperate for escape. She had no idea she was about to lose everything, or that she would survive it. I took a deep breath and let the wind fill my lungs. I wasn't defined by the secrets that shaped me. I was defined by what I chose to do once they were revealed. And for the first time in my life, that choice was truly mine.